Now, ever since I did the video on the Mass Effect ending, ever since then, I have had various questions that I have answered either in videos or multiple times, and always give the rinse and repeat question. Oh, what do I think of the indoctrination theory? Or what do I think of this? Or what do I think of the possibilities of this? But there is one question that I haven't asked more than any. And I've answered it whenever I've been asked. I've answered it in Ask the Warriors, I've answered it in messages, I've answered it in emails, I've even answered it I didn't answer it today, but I thought that now is about time that I make this video. And with the rumour that supposedly the new CGI trailer for the next Mass Effect game will be coming out at the VGAs this year. Now, admittedly, this is still a rumour as of this time. I have heard no confirmation from BioWare. And until I hear confirmation, I'm not doing a damn thing. There's been one question that I've been asked, and I'm sure everyone else has been asked this, and I've heard probably the most diverse answers when it comes to anything that's come out of the entire Mass Effect trilogy. Do I think that without Shepard, the Mass Effect series is dead in the war? Or dead. Or it can't work without Shepard. You name it, I've been asked it in the different contexts. That's a tricky question for a lot of people, but for me it's an easy answer. The Mass Effect series has only just begun. Now, I'm going to do my best to tell you why I think that. Now, there are legitimate reasons why people might say, oh, but without Shepard, the Mass Effect series can't really continue. There are legitimate reasons for that, but I disagree with all of them. There are people who have argued and debated and said, this is why it can't work. And they give good reasons, but the reasons that they give, in my opinion, are not solid evidence that there should never be another Mass Effect game once these three finished. Like, apparently, people only want these three, they don't want any more Mass Effect games. Some people want that, and I understand that, especially after what happened with Mass Effect 3. Now, I'm not here to talk about the ending. I'm not here to talk about what was good about the game, what was bad about the game. I've talked about that to death, and I am honestly sick and tired of it. Now, I still love talking about Mass Effect, but I want to talk about the possibilities for the Mass Effect universe. So, I very rarely, in fact, I basically, normally when everyone asks me involved in the ending of Mass Effect, I just say, go check out my other videos. That's all I say now. Here I'm going to try and answer that question is, do I think the Mass Effect series can continue without Shepard? I've said it right now, I think yes. I'm going to give my reasons. I've probably repeated that like 3 times in this video, and I know people hate that, but screw it, don't care. In my honest opinion, if you think that the Mass Effect series should end once Shepard died in Mass Effect 3, spoiler alert, if you don't know by now, who the fuck are you? Then in my opinion, you're stupid. Like, I'm not saying it in an insulting way, I'm saying it in a, you don't understand, I don't want to say don't understand, but you don't get it kind of way. Now, I'm not saying that you're stupid, I'm not saying that you're retarded or any of that kind of stuff. I'm just saying you don't get, you don't see the possibilities, and I don't understand that. I don't see all the possibilities, but I see the possibilities of the Mass Effect universe. I really fucking do. And I can point to a few examples. And first example that points to my head, Star Wars. Star Wars came out, I think, way before my time. Way before I was born. Like, the original trilogy. I'm pretty sure there were people back then that were going, you know what? They should never do anything else with that series. I can guarantee there were people like that. Episode 1, 2, and 3 come along. There were people who probably said should never do that again. That there should be no Star Wars games, there should be no Star Wars movies, that kind of crap. And when Episode 7 was announced, there are still people saying there should not be a next series of Star Wars films because various reasons. And yet, the Star Wars universe is one of the most richest and expansive universes to date, spanning graphic novels, dozens if not hundreds of books by now, games, what else? Mobile devices? You name it, there's Star Wars of it. And that is my example I can give. Another example, Star Trek. There are people out there that probably thought there should have never been anything after the original series, or the next generation. And yet we've got Star Wars novels, Star Trek novels, Star Trek games, you name it, we have it of Star Trek as well. The difference being when it comes to games and those between Mass Effect and Star Trek and Star Wars is Mass Effect started as a game, and yet this in my I personally have more connection with the Mass Effect series, and I see more potential in the Mass Effect series than I do with my mind in the other series, Star Wars and Star Trek. And in my opinion, if you're a fan of any of those series and you can't see that Mass Effect has just as much opportunity and potential to have as Star Wars and Star Trek has, then you really don't get it, in my opinion. And as I say, it's like you think back to when the original trilogy came out for Star Wars. There are people who probably didn't want to see that. I'm repeating myself, but I can't have to clarify it. And you have to understand that just because you think that it can't continue doesn't mean that it won't continue. And if you think about it, there are people out there that will probably say, "Oh, do the Mark Hamill and Harrison Ford and whoever played Leia, Kathy Fisher, I think." Due to the fact they're not going to be in episode 7 or 8 or 9 or 10 or whatever the fuck there is, I'm not going to go see that because it makes no sense and all that crap. Instead of embracing the fact that Star Wars episode 7, 8 and 9 will have new characters, new protagonists, new stories to be told in this universe, not necessarily involving the Skywalkers, which probably will, but not involving the characters that you grew up loving and caring about, doesn't mean it's going to be bad. You're just being single-minded and biased and just saying that just because it's not like what I liked as a kid doesn't mean it's not what it's going to be. That means that I'm not going to like it. That's like me saying I'm never going to like another Mass Effect game because it doesn't have Shepard in it. And if you're saying that, you really don't see the potential in the Mass Effect universe. For example, there are books on the Mass Effect universe. There are 4 books. The 4th one sucks, by the way. Don't buy it. There are ones. None of these books have Shepard in it. This book doesn't have Shepard in it. This book doesn't have Shepard in it. This book doesn't have Shepard in it. You know what these books have it? The characters they have in common in these books? Anderson, Callie Sanders. Those are the characters they have in common. There's no Shepard. The graphic novels, Evolution, Redemption, Invasion, Homeworld. They don't have Shepard in them, and yet they're good. Not all of them. I haven't read every single one, but they are good from what I've been told. They don't have Shepard in it. You want an example of something in the Mass Effect universe that doesn't have Shepard in it that's good? Here's a good example. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3, the Shepard trilogy, is one part in the Mass Effect universe that has been explored. There is still a lot more that needs to be explored, in my opinion. The Mass Effect universe is exactly, in my opinion, has the same potential as the previous ones I mentioned, Star Trek and Star Wars. They have so much potential for different stories, different characters, different developments, that just because Shepard isn't there doesn't mean it's going to suck. And as is, I'm one of the people that's kind of going to be like, you know what, I will give this next Mass Effect the benefit of the doubt, and I will look up the news about it, and if it appeals to me, I will play it. Am I going to play it because am I worried that it doesn't have Shepard in it? No, in all honesty, Shepard should never be in another Mass Effect game because his story, my Shepard was a male, but their story ended here in Mass Effect 3. My Shepard story ends at the Citadel DLC. That is the last place my Shepard was, not the ending. That is where Shepard's story ends, is here. Now, Mass Effect, whatever the hell they decide to call it, that comes after this, can have references to Shepard, references to his crew, but in all honesty, it needs to get as far away from Shepard as possible. Shepard may be... A lot of people see Shepard as the symbol of the Mass Effect series. And I understand that. I do see why he or she is the symbol that people are like, that is what makes Mass Effect Mass Effect. When they're in my opinion, I can understand that. But for me, what makes Mass Effect is the universe. The rich universe that is ripe for expansion. We have only touched a fragment of what the potential that the Mass Effect series has in it. You look at this. This is the art book. Isn't a lore book like the World of Thetis. But you look at this and you see different stylized arts for different animals. But fuck's sake, we still have barely any information on this motherfucker, the Thorian. In my opinion, one of the most interesting characters and creatures in the Mass Effect universe, and we know next to nothing about it. We know next to nothing about this thing, and I want to know more. And does that mean I want Shepard to be there? No. Doesn't mean I don't want to be Shepard. We have still got hundreds of planets, fucking organizations. All those organizations there. Those are organizations that make the weapons. Like the Mass Effect universe has so much lore to it, so much possibilities, so many different aspects. I mean, look at all these worlds that we could get to go to. We've been to the majority of them. We've been to all the major planets and several dozen uncharted worlds, but we have yet to scratch the surface on other ones. There are different things that people need to take into consideration when it comes to Mass Effect. Just because Shepard isn't there doesn't mean the series isn't going to be great. As I say, the Mass Effect series has that potential. It is one of the rare occurrences in which a universe has been created that can be used to not just have one character do the same story over and over again, but has the potential to spout either single stories. Maybe Mass Effect 4 will be a standalone story with one character in it, and after that game ends, that's the end of that character's story, and then the next Mass Effect game might have that. It'll be another person's story. Mass Effect 1, 2, and 3 were Shepard's story, and his or her story ended there, and it does not need to continue. I understand why people might want to see Shepard again. I'd want to see Shepard again, but I may want to see Shepard again, but it's not right, in my opinion, with the way that the story ended for Mass Effect 3. That is the Shepard trilogy, and it ended where it ended. It may have not ended on the thing that people wanted to the most, but it has come to an end, and you have to respect that. It is the team at I think it's the Montreal studio that's doing Mass Effect 4, or whatever it's going to be called. They are the ones that are doing that game, and they have the right to take this universe and make a new story without having to worry about the Shepard baggage. They don't have to worry about that. They deserve the right to write the story of that game the way they want to write it. As it says, with, of course, different people coming in, blah, 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 all that kind of thing. And it says if they want to make a fresh start, which is a rarity these days with any series, that any series has that potential, which very, 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 very few do, that you can take, even after all the stories that have came before, and have a fresh start in it. Star Wars, if you give someone a writer or a team and say, you have free reign to write a Star Wars story, here's the lore of this universe, make sure it stays within that parameters, write whatever fucking story you want. Same with Star Trek. Firefly, Babylon 5, various other fantasy as well. Lord of the Rings, for example, you can actually write a different story in Lord of the Rings that doesn't involve the rings. It might be a little bit hard, but you can. What do I think of other ones? I'm just having to look over here. I'm sorry, I'm just looking at my collection of DVDs. Not the Marvel Universe, DC. You have that potential. There are not a lot of series to this day that can claim that. That once a story arc, which is this, we've had this, the Mass Effect universe. We've had the Shepard arc. The Shepard arc has come to an end. It has ended. There's nothing we can do about it. It has ended where it's ended, and we have to learn to deal with it. And I've dealt with that. I might not like where the Shepard arc ended, but so what? I can't change a damn thing about it. Unless I somehow get magic programming skills in which I can just go, fixed. Shepard arc has ended. The new arc begins, and where that new arc takes us is completely in the hands of the new BioWare team. It's in their hands, and I'm not saying that I'm not saying it'll be fantastic. They could fall flat on their face, but I'm willing to give them the benefit of the doubt that they can take something like the Mass Effect universe and write a new story that is just as good, if not better, than the Shepard story. I said it. they have the potential to make Shepard's story better. To make a better story than Shepard. Which is not easy. Shepard's story is awesome. I love Shepard. Shepard is fucking amazing. He is an icon in game. He and she is an icon in gaming. Hands down. But it's not for me, it's not the face of the series. And if the face of the series is Shepard to you, I understand it, but you have to think that you can't have Shepard in every fucking game. You can't. It won't work. They've already killed him off once, and then brought him back. They can't do it 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times if there's a Mass Effect 10. Now, I encourage debate. I encourage people to say why I'm wrong or why I'm right. But you have to understand that you don't restrict someone to a set story with a universe like the Mass Effect universe. It has as much potential in it as the Star Wars and Star Trek universes do. You can take different aspects of the Mass Effect universe and write a different story that has nothing to do with Shepard. It has nothing to do with the Reapers. The Reapers were one threat in the Mass Effect universe. There are other threats out there. And maybe the threats might not be as grand or as massive as galactic genocide. But it doesn't have to be. Just because of something as big as a Reaper threat came across doesn't mean that you have to have that in every series. Mass Effect 3, where it ended, whatever ending it was, whatever ending you chose, it's a clean slate basically. Mass Effect, the universe is in tatters. The universe is barely holding on to what it has. And it's a clean slate now. New possibility of new characters, new races, new potentials, new enemies. Now, it depends what ending they go as canon. I do believe it's going to be Destroyer. I'm not 100% certain. I could be wrong. But it has that potential. The fact that it is, in a way, a clean slate for a writer to take and write a story of the aftermath of the Reaper invasion without Shepard. Shepard's dead. Now, he or she may be alive with that little... I don't know. And in all honesty, I hope that they stay as far away from that as possible. I say go a couple of 100 years in the future to the point in which there is no fucking way Shepard can come back. Shepard is dead, whether it be he was found in the wreckage, he or she was found in the wreckage, pulled out, nursed health, and they died sipping Mai Tais on the beach with Garrus. Or had blue babies with Liara. Or spent the rest of their days on Rannoch. Or spent the rest of their days with Miranda Lawson. Or spent the rest of their days with Jack. I don't know. Whatever suits you. But it needs to get to the point in which Shepard has no chance of coming back or even making a cameo. Shepard is gone. Shepard's story's ended. Let it fucking end. Let it stay where it is. And let a new hero, a new protagonist come and bring a chance to show that Shepard isn't the only one that can be a hero in the Mass Effect universe. There is so much potential. You give me look at an example of me, MD, and RL Chill. We have written a fan fiction called Mass Effect Retaliation that has nothing to do that has something to do with Shepard. We based it on the idea of the Reapers invading Earth. 4 characters on Earth, Shepard's out in the galaxy saving the day. Our story focuses on them. Our story focuses on their struggles on a Reaper invaded Earth. That's what we took. We could have easily have said Shepard somehow stayed on Earth and decided hell with. We could have done that, but we took it as a challenge to ourselves to write a story that doesn't revolve around Shepard. It doesn't revolve around this magic face here. It doesn't... I can get a better one. It doesn't revolve around this or this. It doesn't revolve around this. It revolves... Give me a minute. Around the title. Mass Effect. it does not revolve around Shepard. It's a fanfic. The Retaliation is a fanfic. It's not going to be made into a game. It's not going to be made into anything. It's a fanfic, a passion project. But it shows that you can do a story without Shepard. Hell, the fucking books show you can do a story without Shepard. One's a fucking prequel. The other two take place during the fucking 2 games. Between the 3 games. You don't need Shepard to make the Mass Effect game. The books, the graphic novels, fucking fan fictions have proven this. Now, I'm not talking about a certain fanfics. I'm talking about good fanfics. Like Me, MD, and are a child's fanfic. Go read it if you want. I don't care. But it has the potential. We do not need Shepard. I've repeated that so many times. And I understand why people do that. I understand why people think that. Okay, I'm trying not to avoid repeating myself, but it's very difficult. Because I want to make sure this is clear across the board. Now, if you asked me to write if I feel sorry for the team that's writing the story for Mass Effect 4, because they've got a lot of pressure on them. From the fans, and from the team probably. But if I was part of that team, I would do the exact same thing. I would be like, we don't want with no Shepard. Like, I hope that was the first rule when they got the fucking... I hope that when it was doing the first meeting, Rule 1 has nothing to do with Shepard. Shepard's story is done. Don't write about Shepard. New protagonist, new characters, clean slate, right. I hope that was Rule 1. I really fucking do. I really hope, because if I was in that team, I would want that. Because I don't want to write a Shepard, because that's a shitstorm waiting to happen. I see why people might want Shepard back, I really do. But if you asked me if I was part of that team, I would write a story hundreds of years after the events of Mass Effect 3. Maybe 300-400 years. I don't know, 300-400 years, let's say. I would say that, and I would still say that the galaxy is still recovering. I would say, let's go with the Destroyer ending as canon, as it does make the most sense. Let's just go with that at the moment. Synthesis is a bit too complicated, and Control is, holy shit, we don't want to touch that with 10-foot fucking barge hole. Refusal is a bit too depressing. Admittedly, that's my preferred ending, but I'm going with the Destroyer ending. We'll go with that one, okay? Destroyer ending. Technology still works, but it's been put to a sand crawl. We've been able to repair the mass a lot of the mass relays are still not repaired. We've repaired a good chunk of them. This is the groundwork I would do. Destroyer ending. Mass relays have been repaired, but only a select few of them. A lot of them are still in disrepair. New technology, ships that can travel without the use of mass relays. Is it possible? Hell yes, it's fucking possible. Fucking hell, it is possible. And you can have faster than light travel. Maybe there are Solarian scientists. The greatest minds in the galaxy come together. I'm sure they can figure a way how to build a mass relay system inside a ship that can go there. Yeah, something like a warp drive, that kind of thing. I'm just saying, speculating. Government is still barely holding on. Citadel has been destroyed. New hub to the galaxy is, I don't know, a planet located in XYZ area called Unity. I fucking out of my head, I don't know. A hub where all races can come and live in peace. Sort of. There is unease in the galaxy. People are still very terrified. After the Reapers were destroyed, certain factions grew to strength. Maybe there was a Turian faction maybe there was an empire, for example, that I know it sounds very Star Warsy, but I'm trying to make sense. Maybe a warlord or some kind of dictator managed to seize this opportunity to take over several systems and have it under their rule, so they could basically live in luxury while people toil beneath them. I know it's kind of cliche, but that's just that's the kind of person I am. If you take something like that, that could work. You could show that the Mass Effect universe is still in turmoil hundreds of years, even after the Reaper's destruction and Shepard's sacrifice. You could say that. You could have a new protagonist that you could make them a new race. You could make it, you could play an Asari, a human, a Turian, a fucking Krogan if you wanted, a Solarian, whatever. Possibilities. Endless. That's what you could do. Now understand, I don't know what they'll do with the next series, if they'll just stick to you being as human as the default race. I don't mind that personally, I'm okay with that, but I would like it if they gave you the option to possibly be an Asari or a Turian or a Krogan. I would like that. But that's just my mind. That's my mind, and I'm not the most creative person in the world, but even my mind goes, I see the possibilities of having a story without Shepard. It makes sense. Now, I'm not saying don't have references to Shepard. Have them if they want. Have a statue of fucking Shepard if you want. Have a memorial. There's the fucking Shepard Memorial. You've still got that. You can have another Shepard Memorial. You could have it. They're rebuilding the Citadel. Maybe the Citadel got rebuilt. I'm sure if they studied the technology long enough, they could build a new Citadel. They could. It's not impossible. And I do see the potential, and that's just from my mind. I see the potential with my mind, and I'm not creative. I am barely creative. But that's just from my mind. That's from a single person's mind. Imagine what a team could do if you gave them that potential, and you gave them that one and basically says, right, you see these games here? These games, they're done. This character Shepard story is done. You write a new story with a new protagonist. That gives so much potential in terms of saying, okay, write another Shepard story. Won't work, in my opinion. Because Shepard's story has ended. Okay? Do understand that. That's it. I hope this video at least let you know what I thought about this. Because I am really getting tired of getting that question answered. And getting that question asked. I wanted to make a video on it, and I did. Now, if you can't see, if you honestly can still say to me that you can't see a Mass Effect game working without Shepard, I don't know what else I can say to try and convince you. I've given my best debate with you and given you examples of why a game without Shepard can work. It can work if you give it a chance. Now, I'm not saying this game will be fine. It could fucking suck and I will rip it a new asshole if it does. But I'm willing to give it a chance. My Shepard story has ended, and I accept that. What will happen in the future in the Mass Effect series? I don't know. There is a lot of potential that you need to take into consideration. You don't just have to be single-minded. Says without Shepard, it cannot work. It can work if you give it a chance. I think that's about it, because if I keep going, I'm just going to end up repeating myself. But please understand that this is my opinion, and I tried to give you my concise opinion, and I do see the argument that without Shepard, the Mass Effect series can't work. I think it's a fucking stupid thing, but I do understand it. And I hope and I wish the team that are working at Edmund, I think it is, that are working on Mass Effect, do a good job, and I do wish them the best of fucking luck, because they need it. They have a lot of pressure on them, and I wish them the best of fucking luck, and all I can say is I hope you do it. And if you are writing a story about Shepard, I feel even more sorry for you. If you're doing a new protagonist, I am very grateful for you. I think it has been confirmed that there is a new protagonist. I am not 100% certain, but this is my opinion, okay? And I do wish the team at Edmund the best of luck, and I do hope, and I still see the potential in the Mass Effect series for books, graphic novels, and future games. Even the movie, I'm willing to give that a chance. So I think I'll leave that now before I start rambling on you, but let me know what your thoughts are. Let me know what you think. Do you think the Mass Effect series can continue without Shepard? Is the Mass Effect series dead without Shepard? My answer? Hell fucking no. But I think that's about it. As always, I'm Scottish Warrior 92, and I'll see you all later. Ciao for now.